Welcome to Fireside Giants. My name is Alex, and today I want to talk about how the Giants possibly took this top 10 defense and really elevated them to a possible top 5 defense. Now, when I looked at this defense prior to this offseason, I saw a few holes. Of course, we saw one alongside James Bradberry at corner. We saw holes at outside linebacker. We saw holes at linebacker. And I think the team did a pretty damn good job of elevating each individual unit that needed more bolstering. And I want to flash back to the 2020 offseason when the Giants went out and spent money to acquire a couple of free agents that we did not really know what to expect, right? When we first got Leonard Williams in the trade in 2019, around 2019 for the last half of the season, everyone said, he's from the Jets. He had 0.5 sacks in 2019. He's going to be 26 years old. Are we really going to pay him? And the Giants decided, no, we're not going to pay him. We're going to franchise tag him. We're going to give him that 1 year to prove his worth. Everyone, including myself at the time, looked at this deal and said, what the hell are we doing? Why are we giving away draft capital? Well, Leonard Williams ended up having 11.5 sacks, 57 combined tackles, and 30 quarterback hits, plus 14 tackles for a loss, and a career low 3.4% missed tackle rate. He was an absolute stud, and his bill of health speaks for itself. The guy's missed a game his entire freaking career, right? Leonard Williams is, for all intents and purposes, capable of being an elite-level player. Now, we just need to see the consistency after receiving that 3-year, $70 million payday, right? We need to see the consistency from him moving forward. Now, when it comes to the Giants, they acquired Leonard Williams. The consensus was that this was a terrible move. Now, instead of going the Byron Jones route at cornerback, we go and get James Bradberry. And even then, people say, he's a good cornerback, but is he a CB1? Can he lock down some of the best guys in the league? When we got him in 2019, he allowed a 60% completion rate. He allowed a touchdown, but he was 1 year removed from allowing 6 total touchdowns in 2018. There was worry. There was concern. He had a 12.2% missed tackle rate, but for corners, missed tackle rate isn't that big of a deal. He had a 14.3% missed tackle rate last year, and the guy was an absolute stud, so keep that in mind. But everyone was kind of like, what's James Bradberry bringing? It could be a hit or miss. Then you go over to Blake Martinez. Of course, he is a big-time tackler, 155 tackles with Green Bay before he came to the Giants. He had 151 last year. But a lot of people say, he's not good in coverage. Can Blake Martinez play a zone scheme? Can he play a man coverage scheme? We've never seen him really thrive as a coverage linebacker, and he did pretty well last year, He didn't allow a single touchdown after allowing, 7 the past 2 years with Green Bay. And he did a pretty great job, with all things considered, considering they had so many deficiencies. He had 6.2% missed tackle rate, the lowest rather of his career. And the Giants walked away last offseason with 3 of the best players on their team. That said to me that this team is taking a step in the right direction. Now, I heard Joe Judge speak on the Ringer podcast with Peter Schrager and Sean McVay, and he had a lot to say, and he was really outspoken in his learnings from Nick Saban and Joe Judge and the seriousness. And the one thing that really stood out to me that I kind of embodied myself, and I was, thank God there was no brick walls around here, otherwise I'd be running the hell through them. He said to me, Julian Edelman, who is his favorite player to be around in New England, walked in one day. He was serving a 4-game suspension for PEDs, right? It was a couple years ago. He walks in the day of his suspension, after his suspension ends. He's ready to come back to work. He walks in, and he says, there's nothing more fun than winning, right? There's nothing more fun than winning. And we know New England's won their fair share of Super Bowls the past couple of seasons, really the past decade. And I'm sure they had a great damn time winning them, right? The Giants now have a head coach who knows how to win and finds it fun, right? I think that it's all about mentality and bringing the most out of your players. That's why the Giants now have the largest coaching staff in the NFL to really help them take everything to the next level. And I think that's where it starts, the coaching staff. And then the personnel. The Giants did a tremendous job. I'm going to talk about that in a minute, of how they brought in so many great players to help the cohesiveness with the coaches and really bring out the best of the talent that they had. I mean, think about this. The team had 40 sacks last year, ranked 12th in the NFL, with virtually no outside linebackers. Jabal Sheard and Carter Coughlin as their primary guys, say less. Those guys did not have what it takes to be starting level players on any given team. They played valiantly, but they shouldn't be starting on any team, let alone the Giants. They still managed 40 sacks and ended up beating Seattle in one of the biggest upsets of the year. That's coaching. That's schematics. That's strategy. That's Patrick Graham. That's Joe Judge, and what they bring to this team. And just listening to Joe Judge speak about his experiences and everything really brought to light, what he wants to do here. And he said one of the biggest takeaways that I had from it, he said, they pay us very, very, very good money to produce an elite product. So we better produce an elite product. He is committed. He's not just getting a paycheck. He's working 24/7 every single day, every single minute of the day, every single day of the week, every single month out of the year. That dude is working. Even when the off season hits, maybe he takes 2 weeks off to spend with his family, but that guy is working. He's thinking. He's mastering the plan in his own head, preparing for the future and what the Giants need to do to become a winning team. And now, we saw a lot of progress last year for a team that had very little on defense. And keep in mind, we went into the season not knowing what Leonard Williams was going to do, not knowing what James Bradberry was going to do, not knowing what Blake Martinez was going to do, with major holes at CB2, very little depth at outside linebacker, unproven talent in Lorenzo Carter and Ocean Ximines, who ended up being lost for the season before the midway point of the year. And we still had a top 10 defense in points allowed per game. In fact, we ranked 9th. Tremendous. Unbelievable. We were a top 10 defense in stopping the run. We are an average defense when it comes to stopping the pass. Now, the Giants said, let's go bolster our secondary and our pass rush, because those two positions go hand in hand, right? The pass rush helps the secondary because it forces quarterbacks to make premature decisions, which could create turnovers. And the secondary helps the pass rush because if you have a great secondary that lock down the receivers, the quarterback has nowhere to go and allows the pass rush to get sacks and collect quarterback hits. Now, this offseason, this is who the Giants added. Adoree Jackson, Aaron Robinson, 2 cornerbacks right there, Azeez Ojulari and Ellerson Smith, another 2 outside linebackers who they drafted, Ifeadi Odenigbo, who can feature in sub packages as a 3-tech, even probably more or less the 4-eye and 5-tech are where he really will feature. He could even do outside linebacker. He has experience there. Ryan Anderson, who is an experienced outside linebacker with Washington in the NFC East. He knows what to expect. Danny Shelton to replace Dalvin Tomlinson, who's a big, big guy, a massive mountain of a human being. And Reggie Ragland, who's, basically David Mayo's replacement, because they kind of cut David Mayo, saved a couple million there, and signed Reggie Ragland on a veteran minimum deal for, probably $2 million in savings compared to Mayo. Tremendous deal. That's how you save money. Backups, you don't need tremendously great backups at a position that you already have a really great starter at. You have Blake Martinez as your primary middle linebacker. Of course, you'd love to have depth, but you need money to spend elsewhere, and the Giants utilize that money to sign Leonard Williams and all these different players, plus Kenny Golladay and John Ross. They did so much to help this team. But the defense, come on. We went from Isaac Yiadom to Adoree Jackson. I don't care who you are. I don't care how much money the Giants spent. That is a damn upgrade. That is a big upgrade. Not even a little one, a big one. Adoree Jackson was one of the best press coverage corners in the league in 2019. In 2018, too, he was tremendous. He has playoff experience. He has experience with great defensive coordinators on a great Titans unit. He is the exact opposite type of player to James Bradberry, which is what I love about him. He offers so much in terms of helping mitigate the production of faster, smaller receivers like Tyreek Hills or Henry Ruggs, like those type of guys, Jalen Reagors of the world. That's where Adoree Jackson will thrive for the Giants. He can lock down those smaller guys, or rather at least give them some serious competition. Whereas Isaac Yiadom, I wouldn't trust him covering anybody, let alone Tyreek Hill. So Adoree Jackson, maybe overpay, maybe not, yet to be determined, but the Giants needed to upgrade that CB2 spot. They did so with another arguably CB1. So they did a great thing there. Aaron Robinson bringing in some competition for Darnay Holmes in the slot. Darnay had a couple of injuries last year. He had some penalty issues at times. Aaron Robinson is a physical man coverage corner. He's going to fit the cover one mold that Patrick Graham wants to run. He is a very good tackler. He is very aggressive. Love that about Aaron Robinson. I would not be surprised if he gave Darnay a run for his money. Who's more of a zone coverage guy, but also able to stop the run. Aaron Robinson, another guy who will step up on the run and make tackles against bigger guys. I really am excited to see what he brings to this team. Azeez Ojulari, we got him at 50. They were projecting him to go to the Giants at 11 2 weeks before the draft. We ended up trading back from 40, getting him at 50, and adding another third-round pick for next season. Tremendous value. There's the third-round pick we lost for Leonard Williams, by the way. We just pushed it on a year. the Giants, general manager Dave Gettleman and front office finally realized, let's start getting more value for the draft. They did so. Just tremendous, because they're not going to have much money to spend next year after this big free agency period. Getting those draft picks for next season is going to be essential to plugging holes on the roster, especially when you have the Bears first-round pick, your own first-round pick, maybe trade up. Of course, I hope Daniel Jones pans out. You have a security blanket just in case, or go out and get Kayvon Thibodeaux, star outside linebacker for Oregon. Guy's going to be an absolute monster at the next level. He's another guy I'd give my eye on. Leonard Williams, Dexter Lawrence, Kayvon Thibodeaux, and Azeez Ojulari. Say less. That is going to be an insane combo if they can manage to do that. Of course, well in the future. We have a lot to talk about, down the line, but let's stick to these players for right now. Allerson Smith had one of the highest grades, relative athletic score of any pass rusher over the last decade. He had the highest broad jump of any outside linebacker or pass rusher in this draft class. He is an athletic specimen, a freak. He's not the biggest dude in terms of power from his lower body, but he's strong. He added a ton of muscle. He works out every single day, as all the other players do, but I see him doing it. His work ethic is tremendous. I'm very excited to see what he brings to this team. I think he can be a situational, rotational pass rusher. It's going to be tough for him to stop the run off the edge, but he can be a very good pass rusher on third down, so I'm excited to see how he can dominate in that facet. Then you have Ifeadi Odenigbo, who is coming from Minnesota. He was their best pass rusher last year. He can feature in many different sub-packages, and I'm very excited to see what he can accomplish this upcoming season. We interviewed Ifeadi, and he's a great guy, high-profile individual, and I think he's going to be a tremendous player for the Giants. They've had their eye on him for quite some time. Ryan Anderson, another veteran outside linebacker, has like 4 or 6 sacks to his name, but he's experienced. He's a good depth piece. Let him battle it out, during the competition of training camp. I'm excited to see what he can offer. Maybe he can make an impact, because, of course, injuries happen. Always have to have those supplements, especially when you don't have any established starters just yet. The Giants are really excited about getting this competition battle going at outside linebacker. Nobody has the starting job yet. It's going to be a straight-up war for that, and I'm excited to watch that during training camp. Danny Shelton replacing Dalvin Tomlinson. He's a big boy. Really takes up a lot of space. He's going to soak up those double teams, allow Leonard Williams and Dexter Lawrence to dominate in the interior. Replacing defensive tackles is essentially like the easiest thing to do on defense. Of course, Dalvin Tomlinson, loved him, great run stopper, a leader, a captain. You would obviously never want to lose your captains, but I will say when you're going from him to Danny Shelton, you're not losing much in terms of production. But I'm excited to see what he can offer as a big guy soaking up those double teams. Of course, Reggie Ragland, another guy, not much help in the pass coverage department, decent run stopper, a good depth piece for the Giants to have. But they did a lot this year, guys. They upgraded the secondary, the pass rush, the linebacker core, the cornerbacks. They have Xavier McKinney coming back. I don't even want to forget about Lorenzo Carter. Notion Exhibit is returning to outside linebacker spot. I'm very, very excited to see where this defense can go with better schematics, establishing this more pass rush-based scheme with a cover one, and utilizing those Azeez Ojularis off the edge, who led the SEC last year and forced fumbles with 4 and tackles with 9.5. Tremendous athlete, awesome bend, high octane player. He's been working out with Evan Ingram and Andrew Thomas down in Atlanta for the past couple days and weeks. So, guys, a lot to be optimistic about and positive about moving forward. We upgraded a lot of units that really were our weakness last year, and we still had a top 10 unit. If you really think about that, our offense was supposed to be better than our defense. It ended up being the opposite by a long shot. Now we even added more assets to it, more quality. I don't want to leave out Rodarius Williams, who we also interviewed from Oklahoma State, a good physical cornerback. I think he'll contribute on special teams as a gunner to start his career, but he's a physical man coverage corner. He's a big guy. He's a little older, so he's experienced, a little bit more matured. So I think that he's going to be another asset for the Giants as they develop some of these players. So I'm very excited, my friends, to see where this defense goes. I think they have top 5 written all over them. If they can stay healthy and, adapt to this new revised scheme that really is Patrick Graham's roots, which he utilized back in Miami. But I think they're going to really take what they did last year and then mesh it with this cover one. They're not going to completely void the zone coverage scheme. They're going to really blend it together, keep defenses on their toes, and really confused about what coverages they are running. So I'm so excited to see what they do in the future, my friends. Anyway, it's just a short little video talking about why the defense could be a top 5 unit and the excitement I think you guys probably have around it as well as I do. But make sure to check on our charity live stream that we will be hosting on the 25th of July. That should be really, really fun. We're going to have tons of interviews. LPG's coming, Art Stapleton, Patricia Traina, Chris Entertainer. We got the fantasy guy. We got so many great people coming on to talk about, the charitable contributions and the Giants and what they're most excited about, maybe inside information that you guys haven't heard yet. Maybe Saquon injury stuff, everything about the Giants. I'm really, really excited to dive into some of this charity stuff and really give back to the Tom Coughlin J Fund for Children's Cancer Awareness. I think that's going to be really great for us to give back a little bit during the offseason right before training camp starts, a couple days, and really get excited for this because it's gonna be an all-day event, probably 11 to 5, something like that. We'll be going at it. We'll be having some fun, talking to a lot of people, and giving you guys some good stuff to enjoy on a Sunday afternoon. I know that the New York City weather's been a little crazy lately with thunderstorms and whatnot, and after a Saturday night out, you're going to want to hang out with us and just talk to some football Giants, my friends. So hopefully you guys subscribe below on YouTube and on Spotify and Apple. Turn on those notifications as always, my friends, and I will catch you guys on the next video.